So for now, let's talk about information age. Information age. German goldsmith Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press. So later we will talk about printing press. So this printing press is invented around 1440. So this invention was a result of finding a way to improve the manual, tedious, and slow printing methods. So what is printing press? So printing press is a device that applies pressure to an ink surface lying on a print medium such as cloth or paper to transfer ink.
Books were expensive and rare during the Middle Ages. Each copy of a book typically had to be written by hand, copied page by page. In the mid-14th, a German craftsman named Johannes Gutenberg developed a way to handle this process by machine, the first printing press. His invention combined movable pieces of metal type that could be reused with a press that could produce sharp impression on paper over and over again. In Gutenberg's printing press, movable type was arranged over a flat wooden plate called the lower pattern. Ink was applied to the type and a sheet of paper was laid on top. An upper platter was brought down to meet the lower platen. The two plates pressed over the plate and typed together, creating sharp image on the paper. This kind of wooded printing press could print over 250 sheets per hour. The printing press made it possible to produce books and other texts quickly, accurately, and less expensively when allowed them to be reproduced in greater numbers. Before the printing press, books belonged primarily to the upper classes, but with books cheaper and more readily available. This led to an increase in the literacy and education of the public. The development of the printing press had been credited with helping to usher in the modern era by enabling the spread of information across all levels of society. The printing press that gone through many alterations and improvements in the centuries since its creation. Today, newspaper commonly use a method called offset printing. In this type of printing, a plate cylinder inks an image on a rubber cylinder, which then transfers or offsets the image to the paper being printed. The fastest offset presses can print about 70,000 sheets per hour, or about 280 times as many sheets as Gutenberg press.
Alan Turing, an English mathematician, was hired in 1936 by the British Top Secret Government Code and Cypress School at Bletchley Park to break the Enigma code. His code-breaking methods became an industrial process, having 12,000 people working 24/7. During World War II, Turing was a leading participant in wartime code breaking, particularly that of German Cypress. He developed a machine that helped break the German Enigma code. By the end of the war, Turing was the only one scientist working on the idea of a universal machine that could plug into the potential speed and reliability of electronic technology. In the 1970s, the generation who witnessed the dawn of the computer age was described as the generation with electronic brains. The people of this generation were the first to be introduced to personal computers. Then, the Homebrew Computer Club, an early computer hobbyist group. Many members of the club ended up being high-profile entrepreneurs, including the founders of Apple Incorporation. Steve Wozniak is an American computer scientist, inventor, and programmer. During his brief stint at the University of California at Berkeley, Wozniak met Steve Jobs, who was still in high school, through a mutual friend. The two later paired up to form Apple Computer on April 1, 1976, prompting Wozniak to quit his job at Hewlett-Packard. In partnership with his friend Steve Jobs, Wozniak invented the Apple I computer. The pair founded